when we discuss framing, we shall start our first discussion with this understanding of self-concept. Why do we need to understand self-concept? Because we have to understand us, and then we will then understand things around us. Okay, so how do scholars explain self-concept? So I have two self-concepts that I want to share with you today. We have many definitions of self. Diri sendiri. Okay, so how do scholars define self? Diri. So I will present you two concepts of self, one from Goffman, okay, framing scholar, and another one from Al-Ghazali. All right, so you should be able to see which one suits your belief and understanding. Okay, number one, so look at this. This is a dualistic view of self. Dualistic, dual mean two, okay? Number one, self is a social product. Social means things around us, okay? So self is a social product, not personal and with underlying personal core. So you are made by things around you. That is social product, okay, according to this, okay? So anything about you, what you wear today is not what you want actually sometimes, but because what have been defined around you as appropriate. Sometimes you want to wear something. For example, I want to put on pink lipstick, but because my surrounding, keliling, mengatakan pink lipstick is not appropriate for your skin tonation, for example. That was a definition from the beauty industry, from our social environment. So I did not put pink lipstick. Instead, I put brown or chocolate or red, for example. So it's not about us, it's about the environment. Okay, that is number one. So we are a social product. How you want to walk, where you want to go, what you want to eat, everything is very much a collaboration between your decision and your environment. Okay, itu yang pertama. Yet, however, tetapi, there is an unsocialized component. Dalam diri kita ada satu komponen unsocialized, not related to social, to the self that drives you into and out of social intercourse and sometimes impels that the individual to behave against social norms. Sometimes we do not follow the norms, kan? Very strong, a person with strong personality, for example, sometimes even though the norms say that, oh, you have to wear, we don't expect you this age to wear bright color, that what been prescribed by the environment. Tapi yeah, I have my own preference. For example, I don't care. I want to wear red because I like red. Kan? Itu unsocialized component. Okay, so we have socialized component and we have unsocialized component according to this view. Okay, so this means that we are not entirely determined by society, because sometimes we can manipulate the social situation and we can create our own impression management. We decide on behalf of ourselves without taking into consideration anything that our social environment demand us to give. Yeah, okay, so social, unsocial. So we human being is determined by social and unsocialized component. Okay. However, look at the last point. They are not totally free to choose the images of self they would have others accept, but are often limited by their statuses, roles, and relationship. Yeah, this is very much true. Sometimes you want to be like A, but because I am a mother of 5, for example, I people will like feel weird if I do this because you are an old lady, for example, you are from the social class, social status, so you cannot do this, you cannot do that. We still take that into consideration. Asian people particularly are very much care about what people think about them. Okay, so this is dualistic view of self-concept with social product and a social component and unsocialized component. Okay, itu yang Western ya. Yang kedua ini adalah Al-Ghazali. Okay, Al-Ghazali, Nature of Man. So, apa yang disampaikan oleh Al-Ghazali? Yang pertama, man is composed of soul and a body. Body is a vehicle and soul is our spiritual insight. Okay, so soul use our body to make us perform. Okay, to make us perform in doing our obligation. Okay, so soul is the core of a man. Okay, and it is divine spiritual entity of great subtlety. Okay, soul itu datangnya dari Lauh Mahfuz yang telah diciptakan oleh Tuhan. Okay, now the body, our body without soul will not exist, but will not be like normal human, but like other human being. So body without soul is nothing. Okay, so the body depends upon the soul for existence. Okay, manusia ada badannya, ada soulnya, roh. Okay, so and our behavior, all right, is also determined by our what we have here. We have desire. What is desire? You need to have desire so that you will remain in sound health. For example, desire to eat. Okay, desire to eat, desire to have partners so that human species will be preserved. Desire itu penting, nafs. Okay, you have to make sure that your body is remain healthy. You remain happy. You have the desire to travel, for example, so that you can release your stress. You can, understand the world better and whatnot. These are desire. Okay, so that we will remain in sound health and our species will be preserved. For example, okay. However, we as men has the power to make sure that desire, nafs, should be used only for good purpose. So if we, according to Al-Ghazali, if we fail to control our desire, we just follow our desire, what we want to do, then we will bring into destruction. So you have the ability, even though the social environment around you says that, oh, you have to, it's okay to do this and that, to follow your desire. But if you are a very strong person who believe that my desire should only be used to do good things, to make sure that your own self remain well functioning in this world, then you should be able to guard yourself. That is desire. Okay, what about anger? Yes, we need anger. Marah, kemarahan. Why we need anger? Because the reason of us having anger is to ward off all that is harmful to the body. Okay, so yes, we need to have anger. Okay, we need to be angry because sometimes we need to be away from something that is harmful to the body. Okay, however, according to Al-Ghazali, you should be able to control your anger in limit. Okay, anything in the world should be used according to the certain limit. Look at things around us, water, fire, medicine, anything else. It should be used according to the limit that is beneficial to our human body. So do anger, desire. Okay, so I think that is very, natural for us to understand it that way. Betul tak? Kan? Okay, knowledge. Another important aspect, component in our behavior is knowledge, the ability to reason. Okay. Knowledge is super important. However, you have to understand that knowledge alone is not powerful to prevent desire and anger. So what else do you need to have? You need to have justice, or this is what we call as a virtue, nilai-nilai hidup. Okay, so by having this virtue, you will then keep your desire and anger under control. So this is how Al-Ghazali defines man, and this is how Kaufman define man. Okay, now why are we learning this concept of man? Nanti sekejap lagi kita akan tengok ya. Okay, moving on. Okay, frame analysis. What we are going to learn today is framing analysis. And this is considered as analytical lens. When you analyze certain frame, you are actually wearing a glasses and analyzing what have been presented to you. Contohnya, okay, number one, what? You will analyze how a message is packaged to you. Bagaimana message ini dipackagekan kepada anda sehingga akhirnya anda melihat itu sebagai A, bukannya B. Yang sebenar mungkin B. The actual things might be B. But the message was packaged in such a way that it looks like A. Faham tak? Okay? This is what? How a message is packaged. So that the one who do the packaging will be able to make you look back as A, when actually that is B. Okay? For example, the media portray someone killed. Okay, so you will look at that someone as, oh my God, what a horrible person, because he killed someone brutally, for example. But what the media failed to show you was that before he killed that person, something bad happened. What was that? That person raped the family and killed the family. So that was not portrayed in the media. So that was the act of self-defense actually, out of anger. The family members were raped and then were brutally killed. Will you just like look at that and okay, fine? No, you will retaliate. Okay, you'll be very angry. You will lose your control at that time. Anger, you know. So media will not take the first part because that first part was totally related to their side. It's them who did the first part, but they will just put the second part. They package it into a second part only because they want to show you that this person is a bad person. Okay, nampak? Okay, that is the what question. So you can actually understand how message being packaged. I will show you more example after this, yeah. Okay, so by framing analysis, you will be able to see how they package the message, and then you will be able to evaluate. Nanti akhirnya nanti bisa dievaluasi that the one who gave the message ini with bad intention or with good intention. Okay, by not understanding framing, you will just accept the message as it is. Okay, and you will think that, oh, ini orang ini ternyata jahat, just that. Tapi by understanding framing, you will be able to understand more. So the same goes to understanding your market. For example, when you learn business, you have to understand your market. So by understanding how the market been framed by the one who can get benefit from marketing, so you will then be very careful not to follow everything being presented to you by the marketer. All right? Okay, can you understand that? That is very clear, yeah? Okay, number two, Why? By framing analysis, you'll be able to understand why. How come these themes emerge and spread? Okay, for example, you are from the beauty industry. So you package your message, you portray your message so that people will believe that to have this size is perfect. To have that size is not perfect. So in order for you to be beautiful, you must strive to get this size, not this size, yeah. This size is not perfect. Okay, so beauty industry tell you that fat is not good, and you become so very sad that you are fat. Okay, when actually what size you are doesn't matter, what color, or no problem. Okay, we should be proud of ourselves, but beauty being described by people from the beauty industry as ABC. So those who did not fall under ABC, they should be worried and buy our product so that you can become ABC. Okay, so popular themes emerge and spread and believed by people because that messages been carefully framed by people from the beauty industry so that you can buy their products. Why people still buy expensive handbags? For example, people spend millions of rupiah, for example, to buy kalau for example, US dollar, 20 US dollar, yeah, just get it. Why? Kenapa? Because they define popular themes, yeah, that they put in the society. If you wear that, you are someone with class. Okay, and for you, you define self-confidence as using LV. Without LV, cheap handbag, oh, I don't have self-confidence. When self-confidence is free, how come you define self-confidence as that expensive? You know, it's from you anyway. Why do you have to pay for that? Why? Because of the frame that been put forward by the beauty industry. Itu why. Yang ketiga, how? By understanding framing, by analyzing messages, you will be able to understand content, keywords and phrases. So you know how. How you have this thinking? Because of these keywords and phrases being put into your mind. Okay, so when you understand frames, then you will know that, oh, I have to be very careful in understanding what I see, what I read, what have been given to me, what have been defined to me. I have to find more information. Okay. Mass media, for example, they are distributors of ideology. Too many ideologies being distributed by the mass media. Yeah, so you have to be very careful. In mass media, for example, this interesting definition, how news stories are made, that is framing. How news stories are made, how pieces of information, different pictures they select, different words they select, how pieces of information are selected and are organized to produce stories that make sense to their writers and audience. They have everything, but they choose not to portray everything equally. They choose their words. They choose the visuals so that what have been presented to you will be from their ideology. Okay, so that is framing. So what do you think? Is framing important? At least for ourselves, yeah? Framing is very important. Okay, so for you, for your organization, by understanding framing, you in business, for example, you should be able to understand how can you frame your messages so that the public will accept it as it is. Okay, so that, for example, you understand that public would want to see A. So you frame your message so that they get that A. Because if you want to see A and people give you B, will you take that? I will not take, because I have so many messages around me. But if I want A and you gave me A, I will definitely take it. Okay, so make them believe that. So you, as a marketer, for example, from business, when you frame your messages must fit the way your audience thinks, the way what your audience wants, for example. So that is the importance of framing. Okay, move forward. Okay, so this is the nature of our social life. In a metaphor, right? Our social life is like drama. Okay, it's like drama. You have script, you have to follow that. Okay, it's like ritual. What is ritual? This is how things are, and you should follow this. This is ritual. It's like game. Let's play the game. You will be in the game. You would want to be in the game, or you want to be out of the game. So you will be accepted if you are in the game, or you will be a loner if you are outside the game, for example. And face. Okay, let's see. What is dramaturgy? So, dramatic concept. Our social life is like a drama. You have performances, you have props, you have backdrops, you have scenery, you have script and scenario, and so on. So sometimes when we lead our life, we are actually acting for a movie, for example. That especially with social media yang ada sekarang ini, you prepare the backdrop, show that you are this kind of person, when actually you might not be that person, but you show in your social media this background. You are now in the mosque preparing this and that, for example. You are helping people and so on. So that is your performance. It could be your performance. It could be your. So what is the props? The prop is maybe something at the back. You giving something to poor people, for example. The scenery and everything, the scripts of your words and something, the what you wrote in your social media, that is a drama. Frame. Okay, that is the simplest form of frame. I hope you understand that now. Okay, frame. What you presented in your social media, that is actually framing. How you frame, how you want people to define you, who you are. Okay, so this is like a drama. You prepare the performance, the props, the backdrops, and everything. So that is why we use the word drama here. Framing, like social life is like drama. And okay. And in this drama, in this social life, we have what we call as intersubjectivity. Okay? So individuals bringing into play, you play a host of information about each other. You bring in the play, in the drama, in the theater, in the play, when you wear something, you want to frame something about you. For example, but not all people are like that. But there are some people whose appearance means a lot of things that they want to control. Okay, your socio-economic position, okay, your self-conception, your attitude towards people. So that will play. When you choose something, you will look at the appearance, you will look at your position, you will look at how you want to decide about you look at how you want to see people, and so on. Okay, so think back. Sometimes we play quite too much of drama in our own life that we finally forgotten our own self, what we want to be, right? Okay, we spend too much until finally we become very poor. Inside and outside. Inside, follow everything yang orang inginkan sehingga kan kita sudah tidak ada personality. Poor inside. We negotiate too much, yeah, with these different types of information around us, yeah. Outside juga, because we thought that by being beautiful you have to wear expensive makeups, expensive clothes, expensive everything, until duitnya habis gara-gara membeli kosmetik yang mahal dan sebagainya, kena ingin memuaskan diri. Duit ada, beli sesuatu yang expensive yang you cannot afford, never mind, biar papa asal bergaya. Okay, so this is how you decide your drama. So dia tergantung dengan intersubjectivity, depend on in our life setting. Okay, what else? So in our daily life, we give two kinds of exchange. Berlaku sama ada we give something verbally ataupun namanya gives off. Apa impression that you deliver? Sama ada you don't have to talk about, you don't have to say anything, you just become silent. Tapi you deliver impression tu sebab apa? Oh, ini tudungnya ini mahal, bajunya mahal, ini bagnya juga mahal. So you just orang yang kaya tidak boleh bercakap banyak, harus senyap, diam dan perhatikan aja, cara melihat juga. So you know that. So you give to people who are around you two types of exchanges. Number one is either you tell them that I am rich, or you just be silent and you give off with your impression, with everything that you deliver from you, that I am rich. So ada dua exchange. Sometimes you don't have to say anything. Tak perlu cakap apa-apa. You just deliver, exchange dalam bentuk verbal or non-verbal. People will still give message about you, even if you are silent. Silence kan? Silence itu, adakah silence means no meaning? No. Silence have many meaning. Okay, silence has many meaning. Number one, you are silenced because you are angry. Silent. Some people, they were silenced because they were shy, right? Sometimes silent because you were confused. Silence pun, you silence juga. Diam saja, diam kerana malu, diam kerana tidak tahu, diam kerana takut, diam kerana tidak setuju, you know. So gives off ini, apa impression yang you bagi, you deliver, has many meanings. Okay, now people yang look at you, they will think that, oh, ini diam kerana dia malu tu sebenarnya. When actually you were silent because you really was very angry until you cannot talk. I want to introduce you to this guy. For example, yeah, your mom kata, oh please, this is the guy that I want you to get married to. And you become very silent. And then the mom said, oh, she is shy. Never mind. Then this is a good sign, according to the mother. But according to you, I am so very angry that I cannot say anything. Oh, kenapa ibu ini pandai-pandai aja ini memperkenalkan aku dengan cowok ini? Okay, so you was very angry until you cannot talk. Kan? Itu adalah what you deliver. Itu ialah what you thought you have delivered to your mom, but your mom have different interpretation. Okay, so intersubjectivity. Okay, all right. Next, mana? Tak bergerak. Okay, all right. Intersubjectivity. Okay, next ya. Sambung. Agak berat ya, tapi bisa difahami ya. Can you understand? my point here? Okay, I'm trying, before I share you how do you do framing analysis, you have to understand dulu about this basic concept, yeah? Then only you will be able to understand framing. Okay, all right, okay. So, still on intersubjectivity, ya. Intersubjectivity itu bermaksud tidak ada sesuatu yang tepat. Okay, so self is a construct, okay, not attributes. Apakah maksud construct? Construct ini adalah sesuatu yang you bina, you build, and you define, and you know, it's not an attribute, sesuatu yang ini tutup oren, ini panjangnya segini, ini adalah attribute kepada botol, ini sifat. No. Self is a construct yang kita bina dan kita tukar interpretasi dia from time to time. Okay? And according to this Western ideology, dia kata self is not wholly controlled and decided by its owner. In some sense, it might be true, but again, for us Muslims, for example, we are deemed responsible for what we choose because we have been given freedom of choice. And this knowledge and what we feel inside, we have been given everything that make us able to control what we want to believe, what we want to choose, and so on. Even though our environment says that you should take A, when you think that a virtue of A is not there, you will not do A. Regardless how much you want to do A, but because you still hold this virtue and believe that A is not the best for people, for other people, for the whole world. So you will not choose A, even though you really want A. Okay? So for us, we should be able to control our own self. And self is partly understood against the overall scenes of interaction. Betul. Self itu, how you can understand that self? Partly, ya, sebahagiannya adalah berdasarkan the situation around them. But that should not be the only indicator. For example, ini orangnya dari mana? Dari Malang. Oh, orang Malang kayaknya gini. Orang Malang itu begini, begitu. Dia itu namanya in psychology kita panggil apa? Stereotyping. Okay, stereotyping. So we understand when we look at something, the overall interaction, we should be able to understand. Tapi sebenarnya, okay, sebenarnya the right way of making interpretation is to always think positively, kan? Okay, so yeah, okay. Now, okay, so social experience, according to framing, is governed by frames. Frame, ya, yang dibentuk di sekitar kita. So, for example, my sentences, my words, itu adalah social experience. The way I behave, it is social experience. The way people around me behave, it is social experience. The reason behind this and that, social experience. The timing, the context, the everything. So our social experience is governed by frame. Okay, so frame ini bermakna ada lapisannya. Slice, one slice, like a cake kan? One slice, two slices, three, four. All these slices membina satu cake yang menjadi satu cake. Okay, so slices itulah frame yang akhirnya bergabung membentuk our pemikiran dan social experience. Okay, moving on. Okay, so frame. Ini definisi frame, ya. Frame bermaksud principle of organization which define the meaning and significance of social event. Oh, patutlah ini. Oh, patutlah dia itu berkelakuan begitu karena ternyata ini, ternyata itu. You know, itu principle, you organize message tu in that way. Can you organize in a different way? Yes, it's a drama. It's a drama. You have pieces of information. Oh, patutlah dia merasa marah dengan saya kerana kayaknya dia itu jealous dengan saya. Itu adalah your organization. Informationnya, apa slice-nya, you nampak dia marah, mukanya serius, and then she did not say hi to you, she just passed. Okay, and then she did not reply to your text and so on. And then someone came and told you she actually she was not been selected. Only you and the other friends were selected. Okay, so dia kata, and then you have that first slice, dia lalu tegur, muka masam, second slice of information, second slice of cake, mukanya marah, and then third slice of cake, iaitu dia tidak balas message. Another slice of cake, you dapat information, she was not selected. Ada banyak slice kan? And then you susun slice tu, you arrange that slice of cake. Oh, dia ini ternyata marah kerana she was jealous. Anywhere saying that she was jealous, yang slice tu, betul tak? Slice pertama, dia jalan cepat, itu bukan jealous. Slice yang kedua, the face was very angry. People become angry, the face, sour face, not necessarily because of jealous. She did not reply your message. You did not reply your friend's message. Was that because of you jealous? Not necessarily. Betul tak? There are many reasons why you did not reply message. And your friends got selected, you were not selected. Was that a reason for you to become jealous? Could be, but could be not. So from where did you get the word jealous? From you. It's you who organize all the slices of cakes and you give meaning and significance to that event. So, for example, because of that thinking, you might react negatively. Definitely kan, you might react negatively to that person. Okay? And that prolong. So for example, you lose friend and whatnot. Or another way is you talk to that person. Hey, did you jealous of me? Why did you blah, 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 blah? And then real truth will come to you. No, I'm so sorry. I did not use my glasses. I couldn't see you. I was in a hurry. Okay, no glasses, was in a hurry because my mother was admitted in hospital. Oh, that explains your face. I did not reply your messages because I was busy attending my sick parent. So that explains why she did not reply to your messages. And I was such in a hurry that I forgot to congratulate you. What? You did not feel jealous at all. Kan? You even want to congratulate me, but you did not see me there. Okay, and you were such in a hurry. Kan? So, your organization of the piece of information that you have and the actual situation might be different. Careful. Okay, be very careful. What I'm trying to tell you now is some people, they take advantage, especially by the media. Those who own the media, you are also the owner of media, you use social media. Okay, so the way you portray messages about you, or from newspaper, the way they portray messages about their company, about their country, about other people, might be different from what actually happened. So this is the world of fitnah, according what we learn. If you learn, for example, in Islam, if you learn what have been said in the Quran, these years, especially these end of the world years, are actually full of fitnah because of what? Because of social media, because people owns media nowadays, because previously media owned by a media owner, okay, very limited, but nowadays almost everybody owns media. You can give definition to this world according to your interest. Okay, so that can bring problems, at the same time can bring benefits. But which one is more? What do you think? More problems or more benefit? So you have to be very careful, yeah? So that is the definition of framing. Principles of organization. How do you arrange? Okay. Right. The meanings of event, action, performances, and self depend on framing. They do not speak for themselves. Semuanya tergantung to framing. You saw killing, okay, everywhere. For example, war. Can the war speak for themselves? No. Okay, so who speak on behalf of the war? The government. Through what? Through media. Okay, so who gave meaning of all these events, actions, and so on? Those who gave meaning? Those who gave the frame. Those who create the frame. Okay, faham ya? Understand? Mereka yang create the frame and distribute, deliver. Those are those who create meanings. Why this war and why this and that. I will show you example after this, yeah. So that you okay, maybe I can share right away. Coba and show sebentar. Can you article is framing, kan ada artikel yang okay then okay then another PowerPoint, then I should open this so okay fine, it's okay. So ada yang satu lagi palm oil PowerPoint yang satu lagi ya, tapi dia tidak boleh sampai ke saya sorry. Okay, I will show you one. Okay, this one. Okay, this one. Yeah, this is a study on media framing. Okay, so in the year 2021, okay, the media. Where is the slide? Okay, this is my student, yeah, undergraduate student. So he conducted this study because I have this, we got a research grant and we were given a research grant by our government to understand issue sawit, kelapa sawit, yeah, because the European government, the EU government, they decided to stop, okay, importing palm oil by year 2024. Okay, this include Indonesia as well, Malaysia and Indonesia. Yeah, they decided to stop sawit, importing sawit. So, so we got this research. The objective of this research was to understand why this decision. So we would like to understand, we would like to explore the issue of sawit from the perspective of European public. So we went to Europe and we interviewed people from few European countries. Yeah. Okay, but this one, this slide that we have here, I asked my student, my undergraduate student, to understand how the Western media and Malaysian media frame the issue of forced labor. For your information, they change issues every year, for example, or every 2 years. You will notice that the Europe will change issues. First, they started with orangutan, and then they started first with deforestation, and then orangutan, and then last year it was forced labor issue. Keep on changing the issue. Okay, now, yeah, we understand that deforestation in this issue, there was some business who like do excessive deforestation, but the question was that why palm oil? What about beef business? What about cocoa business? Why didn't they pay attention to that? Why palm oil? Okay, so when we study, we found different reasons, but this is not what I want to show you. We will talk about this later when we have time. But this one, I asked my student because last year they used the issue forced labor. Okay, so I asked him to study what have been portrayed by the media, framed by the media. We choose two from the Western NGO, Greenpeace, and from Malaysia, MPOC is the one who were responsible in communicating about Malaysian palm oil. So we studied these two articles. So, okay, let me share with you the findings here. Sebentar. Okay, so we have international NGO here, INGO here. Okay, and we have Malaysia Corporate Organization, which is MPOC. So we will like to know what type of generic frames that they use in their publication and what types of framing, whether they use thematic framing or episodic framing. And in their generic frames, whether they use responsibility frame or conflict frame or morality frame, or they focus on human resource interest or focus on economic consequences. Okay, we want to see, is there a significant difference in using of generic frames between international NGO and Malaysia Corporate Organization in the coverage of palm oil's forced labor issue? And is there a significant difference in the types of framing, whether they use thematic framing or episodic framing between these two? Okay, so we use this content analysis. If you want to do framing analysis, I suggest you to have a framework, to choose framework, not necessarily Krippendorf, but for my student study, he chose Krippendorf. Okay, so what is so this is the methodology. Well, first you selected text, and then you do unitizing, sampling, recording, reducing, inferring, narrating, and then you answer the research question. So now, unitizing. So the unit here is the text, yeah, online text that mention forced labor. Okay, and then sampling. Okay, we have 50 online articles in online news. Yeah, first we have this exclusion and inclusion criteria. We decide we have the population, and then we reduce the using this inclusion exclusion, and then in the end we got this 20 articles from international NGO and 29 articles from Malaysia. Outside 21, inside 29. Okay, and then we code. Okay, so we train our coders to code the paper. I will show you how. How do you code the paper? So this is okay. Okay, this is the coding book. This is very small. Yeah. This is the coding book. Yeah. Okay, in the coding book, this is to be given to your coders, the one who code. Print the articles and code the articles. Okay, so this is the introduction. If you look at, if you can see, this is introduction. You tell them that this is a what project and what title. So instruction, you are required to spot to code this. Okay, you are required to write down your name, or write down the serial number of the articles, and from where did you get the whether it's a website communication, the year published, the title. You have to write the source of news, whether it's Malaysia, because you will have to put this in SPSS later on. Yeah, and then the name of organization, you have to put it. and then frame. And you'll be asked to look for generic frames and type of framings, two objective. Okay, generic frame, you are required to complete reading the entire article. Okay, and then there are 20 questions under this study. So you will have to put yes or no. You read the articles and then you quote yes or no when it comes to questions about the frame. So the 20 questions adopted from SEMETCO and welcome back on the for this study. Now, and then types of framing, yeah. So types tadi kan generic kan, generic. Alright, generic itu nanti based on SEMETCO punya classification, and then types of framing nanti you will decide whether the article is related to episodic ataupun thematic ataupun neutral types. Okay, and then comments and so on. So this is the coding book that you will share to your coders, the one that will be reading the article and decide on the themes. Now, this is the coding sheet. Gini, coding sheet itu seperti ini ya. Okay, coding sheet, coder, your name, title of the article, whether it's online and online article, year published, titlenya apa, source-nya di mana. Okay, so if you choose Malaysia Corporate Organisation, from which you read the article, just tick from where did you read the article. If you tick international NGO, please tick from which organisation you read the news article. So tengok di bawah ini pilihan from where did you read. Okay, now coding on generic frames. So how do you code? Okay, in generic frames, according to SEMETCO environment, ada responsibility, whether your article is about responsibility frame or about conflict frame dan sebagainya. Okay, responsibility frame itu gimana? Okay, when you read, does the news story or paragraph that you read recommend that some level of government has the ability to manage the issue about this palm oil forced labor issue? When you read, do you think that anywhere in the story recommend that government can manage the issue? Yes or no? Number two, does the news story or paragraph that you read recommend that some level of government or organization is responsible for the issue? Adakah artikel itu menulis bahawa government bertanggungjawab? Kalau ada, yes. Adakah story recommend, adakah mereka recommend any solution? Yes or no? Adakah suggest individual ataupun group of people responsible? Adakah news story suggest yang memerlukan urgent action? Adakah cerita itu? So you tick. Okay, normally you will use two coders. Same article, two coders will fill in the coding sheet. Move on to conflict frame pula. Conflict. Adakah artikel itu menampakkan disagreement, tidak setuju, ataupun adakah mereka saling blame, tak setuju dengan each other? Adakah the article refer to two or more sides of the problem? Ada di mereka highlight banyak isu dan sebagainya. So ini, semua ini you will train your coders ya. Before you ask them to do this coding, you will train them to code. And then after they code, you will key in the SPSS. This one. 0 for no, 1 for yes. Kan? So you code, your coders code, and then you run, or before you input in SPSS, first you will run the intercoder reliability test. You have to make sure that the kappa, you do the Cohen kappa, for example, you need to make sure that the kappa value is high. What does that mean? When the kappa value is high, the coders coded this have agreement. Mereka ada definition, understanding yang sama about all this. Tetapi, if one coder and the other coder have different understanding, that will result in low score of Koheng Kappa. Low kappa score. So what happened if you have low kappa score? You will then call the coders, explain again to them, and they both discuss what would be the meaning that they will agree. For example, I said responsibility frame shouldn't involve people. The other person said responsibility frame should involve people. So you sit together, discuss. Now, do we want to involve people or we do not want to involve people? And then you discuss lah. You discuss among each other, and then finally you come to a conclusion that yes, it should involve people. The other party agree, you agree. So that is the definition of responsibility frame. Contoh, example. Yeah. So bila ada disagreement, sit down. This is done during the validity and reliability test. Yeah. Sit down and sit and discuss and finally come to an end, to an agreement. Okay. And then only barulah you boleh code the actual data. Okay. Heavy ya. Timing pula waktu this petang pula ya. I mean, because you are graduate students kan, I am very sure you would want to understand this methodology kan. So what's the point of me explaining this to you when you have no idea what is the methodology like? Okay, so you code this, kemudian study use categorical data kan, so you collect values, observation, and you use descriptive analysis first, where you examine the frequency and percentage of each coding item, and then you do independent sample t-test. Okay, all right. And then after you get the test, you generalize from the study to the whole population of interest. Okay, therefore your sampling must be correct. Now, this is the reliability test that I explained to you just now. Yeah, we take 20% of the total sample lah. So 5 articles from international, 5 articles from Malaysia. We ask the coders to code, and then we do the test. Okay, so we found that the kappa value was berapa? Ini bukan. Okay, yeah. Untuk responsibility frame 0.8 tinggi ya. 0.8 di sini good. Okay, 0.8 hingga 1. Okay, this is more than 8, so this is very good. This is good. This is good. This is good. This is very good, very good. Okay, so apa ni? So semua agreement with between coders too high lah. So then they can continue to code the articles the way that they did with the 5 articles. Faham tak? Okay, mereka code 5 artikel, and then we run this test. Okay, intercoder reliability test, and then we found that mereka the coders have agreement. They coded the article very similar, the same. They have different interpretation of what is meant by morality frame. Mereka ada fahaman yang sama tentang economic frame. Mereka ada fahaman yang sama tentang human interest frame. So very similar way of interpreting. Sama cara pemikiran, cara mereka code ya. So they can continue with the actual data. Boleh teruskan. Okay, so apa result yang kita dapat? Pertama di sini, okay, 58% from the research, half lah, lebih kurang half. Kemudian Malaysia Corporate Organisation website. Ini dari, okay, sekejap ya. Okay, average length untuk mean untuk number of words untuk Malaysia 600 lebih. International NGO juga 600 lebih, so lebih kurang sama. Monthly distribution, ini monthly distribution of articles, banyak mana yang mereka keluar. Ini ialah generic, okay. The main generic frame used in the coverage of palm oil forced labor issue by international NGO and Malaysia corporate organisation in website communication. Okay, so ini adalah mean score of the generic frame. Contohnya, kalau responsibility frame, kalau Malaysia itu meannya 0.5. Kalau international, 0.7. Bermakna international NGO lebih banyak play the blaming game. 0.7. Kalau konflik, Malaysia banyak lihat ini sebagai konflik. For them, international, this is not a conflict. This is something that you need to be responsible. Kalau kita melihat ini sebagai sesuatu yang melibatkan banyak perkara lain, ya. And then morality tak banyak yang mereka cover. Economic consequences, kalau Malaysia, we look at this issue as bringing economic consequences, kesan yang buruk kepada small smallholders lah. Penduduk kampung akan terjejas dengan tuduhan ini. Sebab itu, point 4. Kalau international NGO, mereka tidak sentuh langsung isu ini. Okay? Kerana mereka banyak claiming game, they don't really emphasize on economic consequences, especially to the small shareholders. And then human interest, point 4, point 6. So di sini, you can see how they play the issue. What types of story, whether it's responsibility ke, conflict ke, you can tell from this. Okay. Kemudian types. Okay, what types of framing? Thematic, episodic ataupun unclear. Okay. Kalau Malaysian media, mereka banyak guna thematic. Okay. Dan international NGO, mereka hanya gunakan lebih kurang about yang sama tentang thematic, where they focus on the themes rather than what happened from right. So ada tak perbezaan, ada differences dalam penggunaan generic frame yang ini, responsibility, conflict dan sebagainya? Adakah perbezaan between international NGO and Malaysia corporate when they cover this issue? Okay, so lihat di sini. Alright, so this is the result. Okay, significant. Kemudian di sini adalah adakah differences dari beda di antara cara mereka Malaysia dan international cover types of framing. Okay, so nanti you akan dapati bahawa okay, so you look at this. Malaysia corporate organisation, Malaysia lebih banyak menggunakan conflict frame, international lebih banyak menggunakan responsibility frame. Okay. Kemudian this is yang kedua, and then followed by these frames, ya. Kemudian thematic, didapati bahawa no significant difference in thematic framing between international and Malaysia. Malaysia corporate organisation portray forced labour in palm industry by presenting background information about palm oil and economy. Tapi international pula ada lack of evidence interview from NGO. Why? Because they want to generate public emotions. Okay. Dari segi episodic framing pun tak ada significant difference between INGO kerana tidak ada individual stories, mereka letak more on generic, ya. Okay, so conclusion. Okay, so this was the conclusion. So when you use this kind of study, you will be able to understand how this particular story frame their story. What story from what point of view, and how they put it. They put it as person related or a general event related. So by having this kind of study, you should be able to understand how people frame messages. Okay, yeah, I know this is quite heavy, yeah, because that involves a statistic. Never mind. But what I want to, what I hope to share with you today is that framing is how you organize information. So, for example, if you would want people to look at you positively, you will organize your information positive from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So maybe you will take 1 year to portray you very positively. You will make sure that every content that you portray about yourself in social media is good all the way. So after 1 year, people will put you as their country representative, for example. Yeah, because you have planned that frame. Okay, all right. Okay. So, organization of experience, how you organize. So by understanding framing analysis, you will be able to understand how that particular sender of messages or media, for example, organize the experience that they want to share. In my study just now, the experience of palm oil, forced labor issue related to palm oil in Malaysia. Yeah, so they want to tell the story of forced labor according to their story. So by understanding article study, you now know how they organize the story. Pakai tim apa, pakai ini, yeah. So you okay, now you understand. So I have another articles by Professor Powell from very interesting article from the US. This professor studied how mainstream newspapers in the US frame Islam after the incident of 9/11. And it was so very interesting to find that they were patterns. Okay, there were patterns of organizing experiences. So, for example, if this professor, that the terrorist was not Muslim and the terrorist is US citizen. So what happened was that they gave the terrorist human descriptor. Maksudnya, for example, this person adalah mangsa abuse, human descriptors. This happened because of isolated case, because he was tortured during his childhood, for example, yeah, and they gave reason that as a reason for that person to be investigated further, not because of other things, but because of the reasons like abuse and whatnot. And then they will put in the newspaper saying that they will assure people that, oh, this is isolated instance, no future threat. That will be put that way. That was the case for the pattern if the terrorist was not not Muslim. Okay, what happened if the terrorist is Muslim? They will quickly link this to larger terrorist cell. So the word Al-Qaeda, the word ISIS and whatnot will be put there without even having this confirmed. They will use, for example, we are so worried that this might be linked to a larger to Al-Qaeda and blah, blah, blah. As long as they use the word, then it's fine, so that people who read that will become familiar that if Muslim, it is always larger organization like that. And then next level will be the act will be connected to war on America by Islam. At this point, no investigation was not yet finished, yeah, and the case is still under investigation, but the media played it that way. And then they will say that future threat from Islam is enhanced. And this Professor Powell herself, she's not a Muslim, you know, but she did this because she believed that this role of media play a role for unnecessary fear. They created unnecessary fear among Americans, okay? So this actually patterns, yeah, has created widening the divide between East and West. Semakin besar divide between East and West. Semakin tinggi ketakutan, unnecessary, tak ada sebabnya. Kerana itu berlaku bukan kerana urusan yang terkait dengan larger organization Al-Qaeda and so on, but they use the words. Ini daripada content analysis, ya. Okay. So ini kayaknya seperti constant drum beat, ya, play gendang itu, okay, Islam terrorist and so on, ya. She used this word, ya, this constant drum beat by selfish and opportunistic politicians, by lazy journalists and uninformed pundits about Islamic terror or Muslim other is a dangerous component of identity politics. Very dangerous, okay? So ini menyebabkan yang menjadikan rasa ingin berperang itu adalah dari media yang led by politician, okay? Yang menjadikan mereka itu sanction the act of war. Itu datangnya dari politician dan media, not by the actual situation, ya. So ini menyebabkan mereka melihat sebagai ini terorisme ini mestinya dilakukan oleh Muslim, okay? So war between Christian and Islam was made by this politician and these lazy journalists who use media, okay? And of course they are controlled by a greater power, okay? So this is one of the many research on framing, okay, that lead to Islamophobia. Okay, so this is one of the many research, not done by Muslims. There are many research done by Muslims and non-Muslim, by people who finally see that why that this world should be a peaceful world, that why people hate each other was not because of the actions of the people themselves, but because of the role of this group that hate, that clearly gain something from this hatred among people, regardless of all religion. So it's not, it's them, okay, it's them who created this. So yeah, this is how powerful framing is. And then I have explained to you tadi tentang palm oil issue kan, that was in economics pula, business. Yang ini on religion. Framing was used also in different other areas, because this is how we think about things around us, kan? About religion, about business, and so on. So when I studied palm oil in Europe, I found that some of the findings was that Malaysian and Indonesian palm oil, because we interviewed scientists, according to them, palm oil is the best oil. Why? One of the best oil. Why? Because economic factor. Economically, it is very cheap. Tapi when it comes to health benefit, it has among the highest benefit. Okay, very high benefit, but very cheap. So can other oils beat this? No. So that makes palm oil a great fit for business. Yeah. So what happened is that other oils will definitely not like this, especially oils from them. Okay, so but at the same time, they have farmers association, for example, and they have to guard the welfare of these farmers because the farmers comes from them. Okay, so they have to accept, even though theirs might not be better from ours. Okay, so but the way of how they frame palm oil is, for me, is not supposed to be the way. If you read documentary, for example, in the West, you will find that the documentary gave one-sided information. Okay, as I mentioned to you, why didn't you mention about cocoa? Why don't you mention about beef industry? These two industries are the largest contributors for deforestation. Why only palm oil? So you know, this makes you think that, oh, this is something wrong there. Okay, but in the end, you have to understand this is the game of politics, of economy, and whatnot. So we, for example, the palm oil producer, we have to understand this so that we know how to play in the blame game, because this is the game of marketing. Okay, the game of economy and business. So if you fail to understand this, how do you expect to defend your business? In the end, if you let other people frame you according to their way, how you are going to survive in the business? You have to frame this issue. You have to use strategy to frame your palm oil so that people in the world understand you better. Okay, so how do you frame? You have to understand, you have to study, you have to understand framing, you have to understand communication. How do you talk in the social media? How do you present yourself? How do you do this? How do you do that? Okay, obviously lah kan. So adakah is G to G, government to government work in this matter? I'm afraid it is not so, because their government know that palm oil is the best. You also know that palm oil is the best. What is there to discuss? Kan? Tapi adakah mereka akan memberitahu you, oh sorry, we don't take your palm oil, we have to blame you because we want to protect. Adakah kerana kita nak protect kita punya farmers, we need them because mereka akhirnya yang akan mengundi kita? Adakah mereka cakap macam tu? No. So you have to use tactic lah. Remember, organization of experience. Let them experience the benefit of palm oil using your communication strategy. Okay, kadang-kadang, sometimes you don't really have to tell people that don't do this, kan? Kena semakin you tell them don't do this, semakin mereka mau melakukannya. Betul? Betul kan? So how? Strategy, tactic. Bagaimana? For example, use the children. Teach the children about virtue. And then the children will show to the father. Kan? Adakah ini akan ambil masa lama? Sometimes. You want to educate public, European public? Yes. Is that easy? No. Ethnocentrism, for example. Okay, white is always right. Kan? Superiority, white supremacy, for example. You know, this is been mentioned in literature. Okay, so you have to take this into consideration. When you want to frame your message, you might not want to use your people, you might want to use them as the endorser. Educate those who understand palm oil, educate them and make them as it's easier to talk between you and the fellow Indonesian using Jawa. Kan? Kalau saya yang cakap guna bahasa Indonesia, you do not want, oh, she's from Malaysia. Okay, but if you use Jawa and Jawa, another two, use your own language using bahasa Jawa, you will, the tendency is normal. Yeah, the tendency to accept the message is higher. Kan? So that is how you organize people experience. You susun slices of cake itu carefully menggunakan what people prefer. Okay, so that is very subjective. The strategy, the communication strategy itu subjective because depends on how do you understood the public that you want to target, the message, okay? Siapa? Then who are the people yang ataupun the channel, what are the channel yang akan communicate the message? Adakah mereka akan baca newspaper about Malaysian palm oil? Mereka takkan baca. You nak guna newspaper, okay, publish Malaysian palm oil dekat newspaper. They don't even know palm oil. I interviewed some of them. I tanya, do you know what is the like of our palm oil tree? Mereka ingat macam pokok jagung yang kecil itu. Mereka kata, oh, ini selalu buat clearkan deforestation. Kerana corn oil kan minyaknya kan jagung, pokok jagung kan ditanam di kawasan yang luas. So if you clear that, so you will do deforestation kan? Mereka fikir begitu. Saya bilang no, our palm oil can live, can stay for 22 years, 20-an tahun per pokok palm oil. Do you know that? Mereka tak tahu. Mereka kata, oh really? I don't know that. Okay. So do you know that palm oil has this, has that? They don't know because what they read dalam media, dalam dokumentari dan sebagainya itu salah. Okay. Even Greenpeace pun bekerjasama dalam pakatan ini. If you read, itu international NGO yang kononnya satu international NGO yang besar yang ini kan. Tapi can they be independent of politics? Tak boleh. In the end, government will pressure them to put our message. So that in the end, we will get benefit. Kan? So never mind. Ya tahu palm oil ini bagus tapi nah biarkan mereka, yang penting kita ini harus dapat benefitnya dulu. Kan selalu begitu. So that is how and why people use framing. Okay? Alright. So ada berapa minit lagi? Udah? Q&A ya? Okay. So this is the end of my sharing session. So I really hope that you can get something out of it. I'm so very sorry if this is too high level or too confusing because the topic itself, because I've warned them just now that this topic is this topic requires thinking. Yeah, okay. All right. Okay, that's all. Thank you. Assalamualaikum.
Yeah. Thank you so much for the heavy, but it was quite I think for me it's a new experience, a new methodology. Obviously, for other people joining the Zoom, I think it's the same for them. Let's go to question and answer. We have actually at a few minutes, we cannot hear your voice, but it was okay.
Okay.
I think it's a technical problem. And there is a question from Aditya Nirwana. Good afternoon, Miss Rosmiza. I have something to ask. How do we define a code or frame such as responsibility, conflict, morality, and so on? Is it based on what we are looking for or based on specific topics or tendencies in the text? And the next question is from him, is it in framing analysis that we are purely looking for what is meant by the text, or can it be elaborated on by interviewing? Thank you very much.
Okay, don't just say the question there, yeah. Okay, how do we define a code of frame? Ya, contohnya macam responsibility conflict. Okay, that is in the theory. So when you do framing analysis, you will have to choose which theory you want to use. For example, in my case, kita gunakan SMACO. Okay, SMACO and Wellenberg ini memang famous theory. So according to SMACO and Wellenberg, dia kata, if you want, you can study generic frame. Okay, so by studying generic frame, you'll be able to understand tema penulisan ini berdasarkan apa? Responsibility ke? Okay, so itu as a guide. So in your chapter 3 nanti, you boleh kata your objective is to understand the generic frame of the article. Based on this theory, in order to study generic frame, you akan tengok responsibility, conflict, blah 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 blah, according to SMACO and blah blah blah. Okay, so but we have other theory juga. Okay, so the more you read articles on framing analysis, you will find more theory. Ada more pembahagian juga lagi. Okay, so you have to read previous literature to understand how do you choose what to analyze in your analysis. Okay. Also, you juga boleh, yes, you can base on specific tendency of your study. For example, your study mungkin mau tahu adakah ini valence-nya positive valence ataupun cenderung ke negative valence. Itu namanya valence, okay? So you boleh quote dan tengok ini positif ataupun negatif. So berapa banyak positivity, negativity you boleh measure that. Okay. So itu you have to, ada juga yang kata types. Adakah ini lebih banyak menceritakan menggunakan contoh melibatkan manusia? Okay, story, specific story untuk membawa emosi. Okay, ataupun dia tidak menggunakan manusia, sebaliknya dia menggunakan isu, cerita itu. So dia gunakan macam mana? So ada banyak. Okay, so you will have to look at previous theory. So you choose which one you want to do. Okay, is it in framing analysis that we are purely looking for what is meant by the text, or can it be elaborated by interviewing? Looking means by the text. Yes, framing boleh dalam teks, boleh juga by interview. Okay, bukan, I mean, contohnya you lihat video, you akan transkripsikan, you lihat video, you tulis semula. In the end, you will have text. Okay, in the end, you will have text. And text itu yang akan decode, will be coded. Okay, interview, you interview people. You want to understand the way that people form thinking. So you pun interview, record, you transcribe in the form of text. Text itu yang akan decode. Alright, so it can be in many forms. Okay, anything that represent, gambar juga boleh. Okay, ada certain ways on how do you code pictures. Do you code animation? For example, whether in design theory kan, kalau kartun itu berbentuk tiga segi mukanya, maksudnya atasnya kecil, bawahnya besar. That denote something, you know, ada meaning. Kalau kartun itu berbentuk bulat, bujur, segi, tiga, atau ada different. Kalau menggunakan satu warna, kalau menggunakan lebih banyak warna, itu apa maksudnya? Adakah dia berbentuk so ada different ways of interpreting. Yeah. So Pak Aditya, have I answered your question?
Yes, it's
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Alright, ada question yang di atas tadi yang we
Yeah.
miss.
It's from Ibu Lohana.
Okay, Bu Lohana.
Mhm.
How we encounter those mislead framing, especially when we know that there are superpower behind this framing issue, obviously is your understanding. This is the role of education. That is why in religion, okay, you have to be an educated person. Education is wide. Tidak semestinya masuk universiti itu orang yang educated, ya. So educated in any means, the more education you receive, the better. Minal mahdi ilal lahdi. When you sejak dilahirkan sehingga akhirnya kita meninggal, proses itu tidak pernah berhenti. So bagaimana kita encounter, how do we counter this mislead framing? We have to understand. You have to understand. You have to understand that your self-confidence is free and not by iPhone. Oh, ya. Ini, guna iPhone, pegang di sini sikit supaya nampak iPhone-nya. Okay? You should know that self-confidence is free. You gunakan handphone cap ayam sekalipun, if you have self-confidence, you are a person with high virtue. Kan? So you jangan let those who gain benefit from the messages that they send, beauty industries ke, food industry dan sebagainya, film industry and so on, they will frame different messages that will benefit their pocket. Ingat ya? Tapi ini dan ini yang decide whether we want to spend money on that or not. Yes, kalau nak beli yang branded because of the quality, fine. Saya juga sometimes in some items, saya beli yang branded item because saya rasa capek membeli banyak kali kerana selalu rosak kalau yang ini kan. Jadi kalau beli satu itu ternyata lebih murah. Kenapa? Because you can use for many years. Kan? Okay, you buy because of that. You have reason. Tak apa. Tapi walaupun, tapi some people, as long as ada merek yang tertentu, merek yang mahal, you will consider that as good. Itu salah. Kena apa? Justifikasi. Harus faham apa yang when you spend money on something, you have to understand. Jangan ikut-ikutan dong. Iklan yang dikeluarkan. Okay? So you have to be educated. The same goes with what you read in the newspaper, in online and so on. Be educated. Don't, accept everything. Kan? Kalau kita di dalam agama itu belajarnya harus berguru. Ada gurunya yang boleh elaborate supaya understanding itu full. Bukannya sekadar baca di internet satu piece of sentence kemudian terus berpegang. Tak boleh. Salah. Itu cara pembelajaran yang salah kan. So that we have to use ni ya. Be educated is the key. Okay? Be educated is the key. Cikgu suaranya hilang.
Yeah, it was like a few minutes back.
I'm
voice
so
was
sorry.
missing.
I did
It's
not know
okay.
that. So lama tak suaranya hilang?
Maybe 5 minutes, but it's okay. We are really sorry about the technical thing.
Okay. Sorry ya, maaf. Ini technical issue. Okay, so anda ada ya? Anda ada soalan lagi ya?
I don't think we have any other question, but we still have 4 minutes. Anyone want to ask a question to Dr. Rose?
Ya. Sementara saya masih di sini.
Exactly.
Open mic.
Anyone who would like to ask question? You can type in the chat box or you can open your unmute your mic.
Angkat tangan juga bisa.
Ya,
Tapi saya
raise hand.
angkat beberapa. Klik yang emoticon yang angkat tangan itu ya.
If not, then I actually have one question.
Okay.
Okay, so how are you when we are coding and we are trying to interpret using several code that you mentioned in the coding sheet? How are we how are we justify our interpretations methodology skill with the bias? How are we not putting our bias into the analysis?
So, can you hear the host? So you can hear my voice, ya? Bisa ya? Bisa. Okay. How to control bias? Very good question, because this is actually a threat to methodology, especially qualitative. Qualitative ini mesti haruslah bisa control bias sebanyak mungkin. Tapi bolehkah 100% free from bias? Of course, no. Kan kena ini kan human being, but we can try our best to minimize bias. Okay, so how do we control our bias? Number one, mestilah berdasarkan literatur, metodologi ya. Okay, previous literature. Kemudian we must make sure that our description, contohnya soalnya mungkin according to the literature dia kata responsibility frame ialah A, B, C, D. Okay, so you read more and then you will find that responsibility should also mention E and F. Okay, so the more you read, the more you will find the meaning of responsibility. Yeah, and when you code, you must make sure that you will not include or quote something outside the definition given by the one that you have gathered from the literature review. Kalau literature review itu kata 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, kemudian you think that, oh, should have elemen ke-6. Elemen ke-6 ini menurutku sangat penting. Okay, dan gali lagi, cari di literature, will you be able to find the 6 elemen? Cari, okay, ternyata ada, masukkan. Ataupun you discuss with the other coder, we have 5, but I personally think that we should have number 6. Kerana number 6 ini you pun explain, you bagi justifikasi, so the other person agree. Maknanya it's not your bias because the other expert pun agree. Okay, so both of you agree to include number 6. You cannot find in the literature, tetapi it is relevant for your context of study because you know your environment better. Kan? So you want to add number 6 and number 7 because that was what happened berkaitan dengan responsibility, fine. Tapi harus dipersetujui. Okay? Yeah. I'm very sure that some of you now have interest in using this this methodology, yeah, for your thesis and so on. So what you should do is you should read, okay, past research and understand because we have numerous comparison, analysis of framing done by previous researcher. And then read until you find something that is relevant to your research, and then you can replicate. You know that kan, dalam research, you can replicate the methodology using your own data. Methodology itu boleh di-follow step by step kesemuanya, tapi you use your data, you use your research context. Itu bagus. Okay? Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you so much for the answer. That was enlightening. And we actually, I give one more question from the audience, if you have any. If not, I will close the session. Anyone, any question? I think everybody is paham here, so they understand well.
You just need time to explore.
Exactly,
kan?
yeah. They need time to explore and they need time to read.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Rosmiza, for coming here for these last 2 days. We are really grateful. I felt like I get a private lecture from you as I'm sitting next to you. And thank you so much, everyone, for coming. Don't forget to open the chat box, and then you should fill the attendance form, and then you can get the certificate during within this week or next week. Okay. That's all from our non-degree training this today. We are very grateful to have you here, Dr. Rosmiza, and thank you all participants. Maybe Dr. Rosmiza has one last pesan
Okay.
for the audience.
Thank you very much for inviting me. Okay. I'm very grateful that I'm here because I always like Malang. Regardless what, if they ask me where do you want to stay, Surabaya or Malang, I will always choose Malang. Okay. So Malang is very special. I've been here since 2017 and I look forward for more collaboration. And I was appointed as adjunct professor until 2027. So it's going to be a long journey. So please benefit me. Let's benefit from each other. Thank you so much. And
Thank
hope
you.
to see you again.
Thank you so much, Rosmiza. Okay, that's all, I think. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Goodbye, everyone.
Welcome to Manajemen Study Program
Universitas Negeri Malang.
Our vision is to be one of the best management study program in Indonesia. Management study program established on 1999, located in Malang, East Java, Indonesia. Since then, the study program has been a place for students and academics alike to engage in academic discussion through conference, seminars, internship, and learning activities.
It's called value proposition. Maybe you may ask about what is value proposition?
Technology has changed a lot of things in business and management. The higher education has significant contribution to it. Management study program consists of 5 research clusters, namely financial management, marketing, HR, entrepreneurship, and Islamic business. We have an exhaustive curriculum that caters all research clusters. Our staffs are a high-quality academic with 5 full professors, 9 associate professors, 25 assistant professors, and 14 lecturers, who are graduated from different countries such as United Kingdom, Taiwan, Indonesia, Netherlands, Malaysia, and Australia. To be one of the best management study program, we need to have a great research portfolio. We do joint research with our partner professor from different countries such as Turkey, France, Malaysia, and Taiwan. Our students are also participating in international activities such as ISMA, ICT, and exchange program.
In France, this
This
is,
experience for
not
students
is,
are priceless and life-changing experience.
The Management Study Program is not only a place to meet friends or learn things in university. In Management Study Program, we get many opportunities to join business competition, internship, and organization that help us become outstanding students. Through innovative learning methods and qualified staff, the study program helps us as a new generation of management students to achieve our dreams and ready to help local economics through business.
We have 3 laboratories. The first one is Integrated Management Laboratory. It is a laboratory to study econometrics, statistics, and statistics for business. This laboratory also supports financial courses such as banking service, Sharia or Islamic banking, Sharia or Islamic cooperative, and financial banking management. It has 25 computer units that equip with statistical software such as SPSS, WAR-PLS, and Stata. Therefore, students and lecturers can engage in an academic discussion with a full equipped facility. The second one is Sigma Marketing Management Laboratory. It functions specialized in cater students that take marketing management, advanced marketing management, entrepreneurship, service marketing, and relationship marketing courses. The laboratory is equipped with point-of-sale computer system, display rack, barcode scanner, cashier table and chairs, coffee machine and barista tool, CCTV, and AC. This laboratory is an embodiment of how entrepreneurs run their business and markets their product. The third and the last one is our own learning media laboratory. The laboratory equipped with soundproofing studio, laptop, SLR camera, computer with OBS, video camera, tripod, lighting set, audio mixer, and etc. This lab specifically caters students taking courses in online marketing and media marketing.
Hello economics, how are you? Today we will discuss about insurance with me, Alisa Diana, and Mr. Sita.
These labs are created to support our learning outcomes and provide a pleasant learning experience to our students. We are committed to create impact in society through business and management innovation. We aim to help local economies to grow through business. We encourage our students to learn as much as they'd like. We facilitate our students and academic staff in a captivating learning environment. Management Study Program, outstanding!